Greetings and you awesome, warm, positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary. And I just wanted to share with you what I'm eating today. So, because folks ask me what I'm eating, and so over here what we're eating is whole, fresh, unprocessed foods. And look, my coconut is stuck over here. So let me grab my coconut like they did. Today we have a coconut. So we have a young coconut, right, full of jelly. I already have eaten one of them. So the younger one has more of the jelly in it and the water. And then some of the ingredients we have today. Woo! Just picked from the garden, the flowers. The greens are just picked from the garden. And this is one of my favorite herbs from the garden. So it's going to seed. This is lemon basil. This is such, I have like 5 or 6 varieties of basil inside the garden. This is such a mood lifter. So if you don't have access to lemongrass, or if lemongrass, fevergrass or lemon basil is very expensive or too expensive, you can always grow it. And if you have organic seeds, then you can collect the seeds, you can allow them to dry, and then you can harvest your own. So also, not only do we have lots of colors here, I'm going to eat them because it's the fresh herb. This is so many greens and flowers. It's nice and colorful. So we want food that's very palatable and beautiful to the eye. So we have all of our Rasta colors, our Rasta colors, right? The red, the gold, and the green. And today, featuring on our meal, in addition to the, what do we call these, Mexican desert sunflowers, and we have our fresh greens from the garden, and our peppers. We also have a sauce that's made with the local Jamaican lime. Now, the beautiful thing is that this is made without oil. This is made without oil. So, you know, it got me thinking today as I'm moving about today, doing my chores and in the quiet. That's when a lot of creativity comes to me. And I would love to hear from you folks what you think. Certain things. Now, it's nice to live a beautiful, healthy, sustainable lifestyle, one that you enjoy. So this to me is beautiful and sustainable. However, I have a question. There are a few things. I'm wondering if you would be able to do without certain things, right? Even periodically, or let's say you didn't have access to these things, or if they were cost prohibitive, or just as an experiment, could you do without certain things? So here are some of them. Bottled salad dressing. Oil, could you do without oil? Could you do without soap? Or at least a solid soap as we know it. Now, I'm not saying don't groom it. I am not saying not to cleanse yourself, because I love to cleanse. But I'm just wondering, if you didn't have toilet paper, if you didn't have batteries, if you didn't have soap, if you didn't have oil for your hair, if you didn't have all the cosmetics that you have, you know, how would you feel? Would you still feel very well put together and groomed and healthy, right? So that's one of the reasons over here that we like to focus on health as being our #1 beauty product. Because when we're at our healthiest, then our body has a natural glow. And we also have an energy that's very glowy. By the way, sidebar, my hairstyle quickie for today is just this. I didn't really hardly do anything. I have a very loose holder. So I have some loose curls. So, you know, I keep these very loose holders because I am extremely tender-headed. And all I did was gather it up so I don't have hair in my food. And this is the quickie style today. So I've got other things to do in the garden and preparing food. So I don't want to be a slave to hair and to my products. So I'm just wondering, can you do without a lot of store-bought things? Imagine just the possibilities of all of the herbs. Let's say, for example, you know, when we're purchasing herbs from the store, I have a tendency to refill these kinds of jars that I've had with spices in them, and I'll put my own herbs in them. But imagine if you have the herbs fresh from the garden, what you'll find is you can use a fraction of the herbs that you would use if they were dry. Right? Because they're much, much more potent. You can use them for teas, you can use them for seasoning, but also they're very beautiful to look at. So I found that preparing your food, even if it's just for you, to make it really, really beautiful is part of the satisfaction with food. So if you have a lot of living water, which I talk about all the time. So if you look at all of this sauce, there's no water in this sauce, and there's actually no oil, and it's very viscous. It has like a really nice texture. And if you should ever see my hands yellow, no, I don't have jaundice. I'm using lots of fresh turmeric. So I don't want to forget that ingredient. Let me grab a piece. So I'm using lots of fresh turmeric. This is a top-end anti-inflammatory, and there's so many different ways we can use this. So In keeping with the principles over here, body culinary principles, the ways of the mothers and the grandmothers, we like to take one ingredient and flip it every which way to Sunday. So we're getting all of this beautiful nutrition, this beautiful color. All of these foods have different aromas. Now, this is not ginger. Some people call it yellow ginger, but this is the fresh turmeric. So quite often, we're so used to getting everything dried and powdered out of the store. It's so much more potent when you're getting it fresh. So when I'm using it, it will have a tendency to make my hands a little a little yellow. So if you ever see me, if you see my hands a little yellow, it's because I use a lot of fresh turmeric. And these are the types of things that we really want to douse our insides with. This is beautiful for your skin, beautiful for your joints, beautiful for arthritis, beautiful for inflammation. This is a powerful anti-inflammatory, and this is one of the top foods. And another beautiful thing for those folks that are going to be joining us in the garden, this is actually quite easy to grow and to harvest. This is very, very easy to grow and to harvest. So I would definitely recommend that this be one of the things that you plant inside of your garden. So I have the delicious sauce, all of these things. There's no oil, and I have a nice texture without putting all kinds of other substances in there that you would have in bottle dressing. The other thing is when you're using the coconut, I'm using everything. So I'm using the water, which has a lot of potassium in it. It's extremely hydrating. I would consider this the original sports drink. So I'm using the water, and then I'm also using the meat from the coconut, which there are a million ways to use the meat. Well, not a million, but lots of ways to use the meat. And then also I'm taking the husk of the coconut after I crack this open. I'm chopping it up with the machete, and I'm allowing it to dry because this I can use inside of the garden. Coconut coir, actually they're selling it now at some nurseries or places where you buy garden supplies, because the husk, when it's dry, it will hold lots of moisture inside of your soil in the garden. So perhaps if you just started a garden and your soil is very dry, adding some coconut coir to the soil once it's all shredded can help hold the moisture into your the water into your soil and can keep it nice and dry, right? There are also different types of leaves and things that I can chop up as well and sprinkle that on the top to hold moisture in so you can stretch your water. So these are all lifestyle, I don't want to call them techniques or things in our lifestyle that are so practical. Sometimes you can have a tendency to think, I'm going way off grid and we can make it into this big production. However, I suspect that my great-grandmothers, my two great-grandmothers and my grandma Lou, who were all in their 90s, all three of them were in their 90s, I just always intuit that they didn't waste anything, right? They had to use everything. They didn't have money to waste, to spend, $5 on a coconut and to waste anything. So down to the fiber that's left over, it can be used inside the garden. So this can actually be a lifestyle. It's an enjoyable lifestyle. Movement and fitness is working to the lifestyle. Also, when I'm outside, I'm getting lots of vitamin D. So rather than just relying on a pill, even if you're in a colder, a little cooler climate, you can put some layers on and go out, and whatever part of your body you're able to expose to the sunlight, even just for a little bit, you can get that vitamin D inside of your skin, on your skin, because vitamin D is a hormone. So I need to get a fork. Get a nice little fork, and I'm gonna dig into this salad. So I can't even call it. I wouldn't even call it salad. I would call this greens. Some people say a mess of greens. I like to have sauce. So I've got so many colors, so many vegetables, so much nutrients on one plate. Lots of fiber, by the way. Good bacteria. It likes an environment of fiber. It proliferates and multiplies in the environment of good, fresh, whole living fiber inside of your gut, right? The gut is also considered the first brain, and it's a very, very important part of our health and our immune system. So if we're eating lots of substances masquerading as foods or things that can sit indefinitely on the shelf that don't have any life force or vitality or electricity in them, then that would be a big distinction of whole, fresh, living foods. So, give thanks. This is delicious. I could even take and reinvent this, but this is not going to last. I could put this into a wrap. can put this on top of a soup. I can have this with some vegetable juice. I have so many different options for what I can do. So I have a lot of excitement, and a lot of it's coming right from my yard. Right from my yard. So I really want to encourage you. Everybody can grow something. Feel free to download Whole Living Foods in the Hood. You can get that guide so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I put all of the different, insights into my mind and how I've maintained this as a lifestyle for going on 12 years. As a lifestyle, this is not a diet, it's a lifestyle. So you'll find your sweet spot, but you have the ability to peek into my kitchen and see what I bought from wholesaler and different markets, how I've been able to sustain this with a family. Also available is natural beauty, no products, only food, right, which is cruelty-free, and that's plant-based. Again, you don't have to be, but that's what it's based on. You can see how I'm putting a lot of fruits and vegetables on my face, hair, and skin, whether you're loose natural or whether you're letting it lock up or whatever your package or your presentation. So what's coming up, we just had the Goddess Cakes and Living Passion Cakes workshop, which was awesome. That's going to be available soon on the website. The 3-day fast, a nutritional reset has started. Weight speeds training is coming up, and the lunchtime classes are still on. So feel free to register. If you have any questions or any issues with registering, do hit me up at info@body-culinary.com. Feel free to like, comment respectfully in the comment section, and subscribe, and I will see you real soon.